Thank you, Larry. That was beautiful. I love that song. Welcome. I have my mic on, so you don't have to remind me today. Life is good. Extra hours sleep, it all works. So, I am happy we had the extra hour of sleep. I took my dog out for a little walk and sniffing adventure this morning, and the weather was beautiful and lovely, so we had a good time. So as I get organized here, let me welcome you all in Sanctuary, welcome you all in Facebook land. Glad to have you here on this wonderful, wonderful day. I've been getting a lot of calls lately. They're starting to pick up. As we move into the holiday season, I generally do. People come into the office. Holidays seem to be a mixed bag for a lot of people. They really enjoy being with their family, and they really dread being with their family at the same time. And they have a lot of juice or energy around this time of year. So I thought I would start this out with talking a little bit about forgiveness. And I know forgiveness is one of the topics where we all go, oh Jesus, is she gonna just beat that drum again? But you know, the thing about forgiveness is that it's all about maintenance. And it really took me a long time to get that while I'm walking my spiritual path here. Forgiveness is not something that we do once. Because really, how many of us have tried to forgive just one time, and yet it comes back again and again and again. And we're sitting there saying, well, I thought I forgave. I truly thought I forgave. I mean, I meant it when I said I forgive. I just really thought I forgave. So here's one of the things that I have seen in life. And it's that, when we cut somebody out because of what they have done, well, initially in the beginning, that feels good. You know, in the moment, it feels really, really good. Because, you know, people sometimes are a problem. And, you know, I'm sure you've all noticed that. I would do fine in the world if no other people were there. But, you know, sometimes we just want to say, it's their fault, you know, or it's all their fault, and they just did this to me. And like I said, it feels good for a moment. It feels good at first, but it doesn't bring us lasting peace or happiness. Because the thing is, it's holding the grudge blocks the ability to have peace of mind. Holding the grudge blocks the way to prosper and have abundance the way the universe wants us to prosper and be abundant. So, unwillingness to forgive. If we are unwilling to forgive, that's like stabbing yourself with a knife and expecting the other person to feel the pain and bleed. And how crazy is that? And yet we do it. See, forgiveness is not something that we do for the other person. Really hear this. It's not about letting other people off the hook and condoning bad behavior. That's not what forgiveness is. That's not what we teach. What this is about is you taking the hook that's in you, that's irritating you. It's about getting that hook out of you so you can be free, so that you can live a more abundant, joyful, peaceful life. So again, it's not something that you're doing for the other person. And in most cases, I'm sure we all understand this, that the other person is not even aware, or they don't care. They're just going on about their business. They're just living their life and having a fabulous time, and they don't know or care how miserable you are, and that you're just sitting there clinging and waiting for them to notice how miserable they made you. They don't even know. They're just boldly living their life, thriving, prospering, joyous, happy as can be. And you're waiting for them to realize that it's all their fault, that you're not happy, joyous, prosperous, healthy, and free. And they're sitting there enjoying their latte and their brunch. And geez, that's a lot of power to give someone, isn't it? That's an enormous amount of personal power that we give to someone else. And look, I'll be the first to say, this is the hardest practice in the New Testament. Hardest practice in the Old Testament was tithing, but the hardest practice in the New Testament is forgiveness. This is why Jesus said, when you forgive, you have to forgive 70 times 7. So let's dissect that a bit. Back then, 2,000 plus years ago, people didn't have the little calculator in their phone. You know, phones were very primitive back then, I guess. So 70 times 7 was just an infinite number for people. To just forgive, keep forgiving is what he's saying. Forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive. And at some point, you're going to feel better. So we're not doing it for the other person. It's for us to be free, peaceful, happy, and prosperous, abundant in every area of our life. See, much to my chagrin, forgiveness is like housekeeping. You can't just do it before the company comes. Otherwise, it gets overwhelming. You have to keep doing it on an ongoing basis. In fact, even on a daily basis. Because it lets us make room for the good that we desire. So here's how it works. Every time we successfully forgive, and what do I mean by successfully forgive? It's that you come to the place where you have no energy, or as I like to call it, no juice on the experience or the people at all anymore. It's like you can say, oh yeah, that was then. This is now. I don't have any energy on that. That's the point we want to get to. And every time we successfully forgive, something or someone, that makes room in us for the universe to bring some new good. But that new good cannot come in as long as we are in unforgiveness. Because that unforgiveness takes up that space in our heart, in our consciousness, and it just can't come. Now, ultimately, there's no real progress on the spiritual path without forgiveness. It's true. And we want to say, oh God, I do anyway. I hate that sometimes. I really do. It's like, can't they do something else? Isn't there just something else out there that I could do? Can't I say 1,000,000 affirmations a day? Can't I do treatments? Can't I read 6,000 or 7,000 more books? Can't I just do something else? I don't want to forgive. The answer is no. The answer is very, very clear. We will not progress spiritually without forgiveness. It's like we're saying to the universe, hey, you know what? This not forgiving business, it feels so good in me. It's just so juicy and warm and loving. I'm getting so much out of it that I'm willing to wait for my good. I will wait for my healing. I will wait for my abundance and prosperity and my good health. I'll wait for greater love in my life because I just want to really hang out in this icky, dark place. You know, this dark place of anger and resentment some more. Now, have we really ever done that? I don't think so, no. But it's kind of like what we're saying to the universe when we don't let go. See, unforgiveness, the unforgiving part that we cling to, I would say that that's like the blame or the shame or the regret that's stored up within us, the guilt, the hurt, the resentments. And it serves us. And we don't want to let it go. And we hold on to it. We cannot truly feel worthy. If I'm resentful, if I'm blaming, if I'm grudging, I will not feel worthy of having the best that the universe, that God, Spirit, divine intelligence has in store for me. I get to play small. Now, Jesus taught forgiveness. He was big on that. And he was the master teacher, and his message was very simple. Love one another and forgive. Love one another, forgive. Love one another, forgive. And I know people hear that, and they say, well, doesn't he have anything else? Come on, isn't there anything else? There's got to be a better way. But come on, the thing is, 2,000 years, 2,000 plus years, and we still don't want to forgive. And this is why the practice of forgiveness is essential and why it's so difficult. It's because we all have a great story. We all have a good story about how our case is special, and we shouldn't have to forgive because this is what that other person did to me. It was so despicable, and it was so awful and so unforgivable. I'm just going to continue on with it. Unforgiving, I'm going to be holding it and nurturing it, and I'm just going to hold on to that baby. But again, who that hurts is us. That hurts you. That hurts me. It does not hurt the other person. So I think, okay, 2,000 plus years, and Jesus gave us this teaching, and we still don't want to forgive. We're just so invested in they are to blame. It's their fault. But who we have to forgive is pretty much everybody, everybody, everybody. And so that includes, and work with me now, because this is big, all of our exes, all of them. Go back all the way to high school. Go back, way back, to those people you did or you did not go to the prom or homecoming with. And on and on and on. First marriage, second marriage, third marriage. Just go on and on and on. Parents, bosses, our children. Here's one, world leaders. That's a tasty tidbit. Oh my God. The opportunity is endless, isn't it? I mean, the opportunity to forgive is just tremendous. But, you know, the thing is, we have to learn to forgive fully and freely and joyfully and completely every day. It's actually a great exercise to do before you go to bed at night. When I go to bed, I say, anybody I need to forgive? How about me? You know, I'm always on that list. And we're going to get to that a little bit later. See, I think that we have a problem with people when they don't behave the way that we want them to behave. And I don't know about you, but I am one who has huge expectations of how I think people should behave. And every day I have to let that expectation go, sometimes several times a day. Because the truth is, I really want to be the person who frees people to just be who they are. I don't want to say, how do you do? Nice to meet you. Let me heave all of my expectations on top of you. Nobody likes that. And I have to do that for myself as well. Hello, nice to meet me. Let me give you my own expectations about you. So when people don't behave the way we want them to behave, that's a problem for us. And the answer is very, very simple. It's just accept it. Just accept it, accept it, accept it. Love them the way they are. Just love them the way they are. John talks about this all the time. Just to love them, get the attachment off of it, and love them the way they are. Because we don't want to be the ones that stand in judgment of others. So what do we do instead? It's simple. We bless them. There's a wonderful book by Catherine Ponder, and she says, what we have to say when we bless other people is, I bless you with a rich increase of God's almighty substance. I love that. I have that on a card in my visor, and I can bring it down anytime I want. this is what I've been doing lately. You know, rather than just having an opinion about other people when I'm driving or in the grocery store. And I want you to know, I have, in the past, have had enormous opinion, especially when I'm driving and in the grocery store. A little side now, my thing used to be primarily the people that had 72 items in a 10 item or less line. Now it's particularly with women, who you're in the line, you're moving up to the line, you wait for everything to be checked out, and then you decide to find your purse and start digging through your purse, finding your billfold and which credit card or cash do you want to use, and taking up an extra 10 minutes. That's my newest thing, but that, I digress. And truly, in all fairness and honesty, I think I'm pretty good at home. At home, I'm meditating and I'm praying and I'm reading, and I'm in a space of unconditional love and peace in the universe. The problem is I get in my car and go to the grocery store, and I'm out in the world with people, and all that peace seems to evaporate very quickly. So what I'm doing now is I bless you with a rich increase of God's almighty substance. I bless you with a rich increase of God's almighty substance. Now, part of why I like that is what I'm wishing and praying and affirming for other people, I'm telling the universe that I'm willing to experience that for myself. So that rich increase of God's spirit, divine intelligence, infinite loves, that rich increase of that substance isn't just for them. It comes back to us as well. And I realize now, after being on the spiritual path for these many years, is I realize that so much of life is just not my business. And I used to think, and sometimes, honestly, will still be, that I think that it's all my business. And I think now, really, that most of it is none of my business. I don't need to have a voice or opinion about most of it. So for most of it in life, I don't need to even say anything. So in the Science of Mind, what we encourage people to do is to work on our own stuff and to let other people work on their own stuff. Imagine that. Wow, it's an incredible idea. I'll work on my stuff, and you work on your stuff, and all will be well in the world. And I do understand that blame is a cultural norm. I don't know if it's so much in Eastern cultures, but certainly in Western culture, blame is a cultural norm. But I think really a better question rather than who did this, you know, and whose fault is this, or who can I hang this blame on? It'd be better to ask, how can we fix this? And I think that's true on every level. How can I fix this? How can I be the consciousness that knows what to do to make this better? See, because with forgiveness, we can always let go of the past, and we can turn to the more important issues of our life. Because I think, see, that unforgiveness, so often we use that unforgiveness business as a delay tactic. Like, I don't have to deal with the other big stuff in my life that are pressing, those things that are pressing in on my life, because I'm just going to hang out in this area of unforgiveness. And I'm going to keep telling the story and telling the story. And the one, you know, that was so bad that they done me wrong. I love that song. But Emma Hopkins says that daily what we have to say is, I forgive everyone and everything. I forgive everyone and everything. So whether you remember it or not, you want to forgive it. And of course, there's plenty that we do remember, isn't there? There's plenty of stuff that we remember. I mean, really, if you tell the truth, you remember that incident in the 3rd grade, don't you? You know? See, sometimes we're just not as good at letting go as we'd like to be. So in your prayer time, in your meditation time, I think a great question to ask is, who am I blaming? It's a really good question. Who am I blaming at this point in my life? What am I blaming them for? And why am I blaming them? Who has hurt me? Why did I allow it? What do I need to forgive in me? Because we say in the science of mind, nothing can come into my experience without my permission. I have created it. And everyone who is out there is an actor playing the part that I wrote, produced, and cast them for. Who has hurt me? So let's talk about our parents. You might have juice on that, but just do it. Forgive. Government, Congress, anything there? Just do it. Forgive. The world, anything? Forgive. Just do it. And here's where it gets ugly. Who have I hurt? Either intentionally or unintentionally. Who have I hurt and why? In what ways do I punish myself or other people? See, again, the truth is nobody can hurt us unless we allow it, unless we script it, actually. Jesus gives us this teaching in the New Testament about the Bible, in the Bible. He talks about how we get so caught up in seeing the speck in somebody else's eye that we forget about the beam in ours. In other words, he's talking about staying on your side of the fence. So if you see a flaw in another person, it's your vision that needs correcting. Why am I not seeing this person as God sees them? And the way God, Spirit, Divine Intelligence, the universe sees them is perfect, whole, complete, and evolving. Just like every one of us. And I think this is how it all makes sense to me. It's that our soul chose it all. To go through all of it. Not just the good stuff, not just the wonderful stuff, not just the stuff that's comforting and uplifting, but all of it, including the difficult things that we've experienced. On some level, I think our soul chose that. Why? Because all of it contributes to our growth. It all adds. Catherine Ponder, one of our mentors, she also said, the world that we live in is an exact measure of our thoughts. So let's think about that for a minute. The world I live in, my life, my world, is an exact measure of my thoughts. And if that's true for me, then that's absolutely true for you as well. So if you don't like the world that you live in, if you don't like what's going on in your life and around your life, well, this means that you don't like your thoughts. And Ernest gives us the admonition to change your thinking, and this will then change your life. Now, I know that there are people who are particularly difficult to forgive. But remember, you're talking about taking the hook out of you. You're saying, this that I have experienced in relationship with you no longer has power over me. It has no dominion over me. I give you no authority over my life, my happiness, my joy, my peace of mind, my expansion. You don't have that place in my life. And sometimes it's really hard to begin. So you say, I forgive you, whoever the person is. I forgive you, you horses patootie. I forgive you, just use the initials, whatever, blah, 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 whatever works for you. But the point is to start. You start where you are. And if you feel like you've hit a wall and you're not making any progress, you say, God, Spirit, I really want to forgive this person, but I seem to be having difficulty. Forgive them through me. I know that you, infinite mind of God, Spirit, knows how to forgive. Forgive this person through me. And I think something we say again and again and again to ourselves a million times a day is, I bless you, I forgive you, I release you. I bless you, I forgive you, I release you. I bless you, I forgive you, I release you. Every time that person or that incident comes into your mind, I bless you, I forgive you, I release you. And every time we do something that we think is not appropriate or that we've hurt somebody, I bless you, I forgive you, I release you. And call yourself by name. And yes, it can be difficult. That's why everyone's not doing it. It is difficult. But that's part of why we're in the shape that we're in, personally and globally. It requires our best effort. That's all we have to do. Just do the best you can on any given day. And this is how this is relevant to our abundance consciousness, our abundance of love and health and creativity, that consciousness of abundance. In the Bible, it says it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Now, I think that that's everything that would add to our life in a loving, healthy, expansive, prosperous way. Everything that would be joyful to us. Spirit wants us to have whatever it is that will make our life be fulfilled. Now, speaking of that, a lot of people, particularly this time of year and after going through this pandemic, a lot of people carry an awful lot of debt. And forgiveness is one of the ways to get out of debt. To really go after, where do I need to forgive? Who do I need to forgive? Because again, everything is energy, and unforgiveness is trapped energy. It's congealed energy, and energy itself has to flow, it's got to move. And so if you carry debt, forgiveness is one of the greatest things you can do to get yourself out of debt. Do it daily. Affirm forgiveness, affirm forgiveness, affirm forgiveness. Ask yourself before you go to sleep at night, who have I put out of my heart today? Who was I not my best spiritual, conscious, loving, evolved self with? How could I have done better in this? And in your heart and in your mind, ask them to forgive you and forgive yourself. Yes, yes, yes. Forgive yourself. Because part of it, maybe the bottom line of it is, all forgiveness is ultimately self-forgiveness. Because it all takes place in here. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness because it takes place within us, within our heart, within our mind, within our consciousness. Now, I think God, Spirit, the universe, infinite love, divine intelligence, has a great love, a great life in store for all of us. And one of the ways that we get to experience that life, one of the ways that we really get to step into it and to embrace it is to forgive, forgive, forgive. And so it is. So, as we turn our attention inward now for a moment, we do that to just remember that right here, right where we are, God, Spirit, Divine Intelligence is. We are surrounded and filled with God's loving presence, Spirit's holy power and infinite love. Spirit is right here. It's the truth about each and every one of us. So in this awareness of our connection with God, the infinite mind, I also know that we're all connected with each other on the unseen side of life. That there's only one of us and we're all it. And so in this awareness of our connection with God and with each other, I speak the word today that we are more willing to forgive and to be in forgiveness than we have ever been thus far. I know that no one has done anything to us that touches that deep, deep and holy place within us. That anything and everything that needs to be forgiven is out here in the external, in the world of effects, in the world of form. And I know that Spirit that we are is unharmed by any of it. And so I claim for us that we let go and release all that needs to be let go and released in our life today. We are more willing, more receptive, and more able, because the truth is that we are more conscious now than we have ever been. And so if there is someone in particular that you know you need to forgive, just see them in your mind's eye right now. And see yourself taking the hook out of you and allowing yourself to be free. And so we include in our prayer today our family members and friends, our parents and children, all of those that we love and hold near and dear. And we remember that God is right where they are, and that Spirit surrounds and fills and uplifts and heals everyone. We let our prayer be a blessing in the world, so that wherever there needs to be more light, more love, we let our prayer be that very light and love in the world. We let it be in the form of all needs met. We let it be healing. We let it be peace of mind and reconciliation. We bless our church. We bless all churches everywhere. We bless synagogues and temples, mosques and ashrams, all passed to God. And I'm certain that we're blessed by being together, that our lives are prospered as we forgive and forgive and forgive again. And so with a grateful heart, I give thanks that this is the truth. I release this word. Together we all say, so it is.
All right, so we're going to forgive, and we're also going to testify to love. You got the words there in your chairs. I want you to sing along. It's a great song for what you talked about. It's a great song you can sing all week.